for you if you want to kickstart off your investment journey. Use the USSD code *292#, kickstart off your investment with the Zabo platform. All you need to do though is to immediately kickstart off your investment by definitely registering with your national identification number, and then as we move further, or as we move forward, it will be very easier for you to kickstart off your investment and continue investing in government bonds and other securities. For the government bonds, for example, the amount of money that you need is 15,000 Ugandan shillings, and you'll definitely be ready to invest in government bonds in that particular space. Markets open at 8:15 a.m. and closing time at 3:15 p.m. East African Standard Time. Big stories kick-starting off your morning today as we kick it off with our morning call. We head to the national carrier. There's something, by the way, when you come to think of it, since 2 years back, the Uganda Airlines is tremendously trying to at least start making profits. It is not likely that it will make profits in the short run though, because according to some key experts, Uganda Airlines may start making profits after 7 years or after 5 years, who knows. But obviously it is actually moving into a direction whereby they want to ensure that at least Ugandans can be proud to fly the crane away from the Pearl of Africa. Now, starting of which, when we talk about the Uganda Airlines, there is something regarding the transportation of dead bodies back to Uganda or back home. And according to details coming in, is that officials from the Uganda Airlines have actually revealed that the airlines makes $67,137 annually in regards to transportation of dead bodies, or dead bodies that are returned back to Uganda. That is for Ugandans who are either way studying from abroad, Ugandans who are working from abroad at the same time, or Ugandans who are definitely, who have traveled abroad and have lost their lives in the long run. Now, the Uganda Airlines has bagged around 247 million Ugandan shillings. That is approximately 67,137 US dollars from transporting dead bodies of mainly Ugandans back home since its resumption of flights about 2 years ago, according to what the officials from the national carrier have revealed. Now, according to the Uganda Airlines cargo manager, Maurice Ogwech, he says that a body that is fully packed in a specialized coffin is heavier than normal and weighs between 130 and 180 kilograms on average. So when you come to think of it in regards to bodies that actually, a body that is fully packed, because they're actually saying that if it's a body that is fully packed, now, for example, in the incident there that you've actually just seen, it is, they're actually two sets. There are bodies that are actually packed as luggage. Then there's a body that is fully packed in a specialized coffin. And of course, that means you're either coming in from a family that can actually afford to take care of those charges if at all you want to have a specialized coffin. And then most of the others, for example, we've seen cases of Ugandan workers or labor workers who are actually working from the Middle East, or even other Ugandans who are studying, and someone is actually, or someone who's been working out from the country. And then what happens afterwards is that when you're returning, at times people are actually returned in more of a luggage form, or what someone would actually say, it may actually be in omugugu, that kind of situation. But of course, when you look at this one, a specialized coffin, someone in a specialized coffin, or what you could actually refer to cargo, is actually weighing between 130 to 180 kilograms. That is on average. This is according to Maurice Ongwech. Maurice Ongwech is the cargo manager at the Uganda Airlines. Now, Ongwech explained that each kilogram is charged 29,432 Ugandan shillings. That is for a body of a deceased. So they charge a kilogram, but obviously during these kilograms, or weighing these particular bodies, they have to actually weigh per kilogram. So that means if per kilogram is 32,000 Ugandan shillings, you can then weigh, if at all your body or your specialized coffin is in a range of 200 kilograms, which is most likely not to be seen. But now this means that on average, transporting a dead body back home takes about 5 million Ugandan shillings. So if you want to transport a dead body back home, especially if it's for your loved one who has actually passed on away from Uganda, and you're using the national carrier, this is the Uganda Airlines, it could cost you roughly $1,359. That is approximately 5 million Ugandan shillings. Now, he further explained that on average, they pick and return home one body every week. So if you come to think of it, according to what is actually being highlighted by the cargo manager at the Uganda Airlines, is that on average, annually, at least a week, at least once a week, there is a dead body that is being returned. Or maybe, you never know, in a month it can actually be 3 to 4 bodies. It depends really. But actually, according to details coming in here, they pick roughly one body per week. So that means they pick and return a body back home. So that means at least there is a 5 million out there, which is actually going on to the check in regards to the Uganda Airlines account. Now, he further explained that on average, as they pick one body per week, at least, and return home. And he further said that they do not transport many bodies from the region because of the already existing competition from other regional airlines. So when you look at the other regional airlines, there's Kenya Airways, not only Kenya Airways, there's also Air Tanzania, there's Rwanda Air. Now, almost because the Rwandese will definitely want to use Rwanda Air, the Kenyans, KQ, the Tanzanians, Air Tanzania. So it is as wide as you can definitely get it. So also the other issue is that data shows that fruits and vegetables are the #1 exports that the national carrier carries out of the country. So when it comes to the exportation of products, agro-based products, or when it comes to the exports that we have, if at all human beings were exports, maybe in regards to flying out Ugandans, then the national carrier would definitely be having quite good numbers, because if you come to think of it, most of the Ugandans are still traveling really hard when it comes to using the Uganda Airlines. Now, besides that, data is as well showing that in regards to export, now when we talk about export, we are talking about the export of cargo. And according to details here, fruits and vegetables are the #1 exports that the national airline carries out of the country, with the major destination being Europe. And obviously fish and flowers follow in that particular order. And I think if you look at fish, by the way, just briefly, when it comes to fish in Uganda, beside the fish mall, which is dominantly on high demand in China, you want to believe at least the people in the fishing sector or the fishing industry are really making some good money out of the same kind of situation. And this is where, you know, we go back to the fact that we want to look at our levels of export increasing. And it's never an easy thing to do, because if you want to at least curb a certain level of inflation, you definitely want to export more than you import. And the kind of situation that we're in as a country is that we import more than we export, and it's something that is actually undermining our economy, which means that we are sending out more money than bringing in to the economy. So if at all we can keep a lot of money afloat within our economy, or within the cycle of our value chains, who knows then? Maybe then we can easily say that the economy is steadily growing. And it's exactly the same kind of situation, or if you come to think of it in regards to how we are looking at the Uganda Airlines or any other transportation sector in regards to this. But of course, with our morning call here, you get to realize that at least the Uganda Airlines is making some good money from the side of transportation in regards to transporting back the dead bodies of Ugandans that actually are being brought back home. Over the weekend, I had a discussion with one of the former employees to a funeral service, and it was pretty much interesting when he was actually telling me how business is from the funeral service. He actually revealed to me that when you come to think of it, is that whenever someone passes on, what the funeral service people do, for those who don't even have a picture of what really happens during the death of somebody, is that they always have agents at the city mortuary or at the hospital mortuary to at least make sure, because every day there's a new dead person, or every day there's someone who's actually recorded. As much as we have someone being recorded as a newborn, we also have someone who's actually being recorded as someone who has actually passed on. Now, in regards to that kind of situation, there are agents who actually work, hand in hand with the hospital to at least link them up to potential clients. Now, at the time is the potential clients are the bereaved families. So, when you come to think of it, is that you'll definitely go into the hospital, try to check out and see how many dead people do you have, or how many corpses are available at the hospital. Once you're getting these particular ones, then you can actually book, because he actually told me they also book for these dead bodies, and after booking, they work on the treatment, they work on the dressing, they work on making sure that they provide a casket to at least send this particular person in all due respect as it's supposed to be. So it's as easy as you can definitely try to think of it, and that is how you can see business is moving every other day. But of course, for anyone out there who's also wondering how you can easily transport your body back home, for anyone who is in a country where the Uganda Airlines has a destination, now you can easily see how much it costs. It's just 5 million Ugandan shillings. If you are to turn this in the US dollars, that is 1,359 US dollars. That will be approximately around 1,000 pounds, really, in regards to the same kind of situation, around 900 to 1,000 pounds sterling, if you come to put it in the pound kind of situation in regards to the current exchange rates. But obviously, this is how we are moving in as a country, and you are definitely thinking maybe it is time for us to appreciate the fact that the Uganda Airlines is growing and trying to make all various changes in regards to making sure that Ugandans fully appreciate Uganda's aviation sector, which I would say is something to reckon on and say, well, we're moving well, really, and who knows? That's a kind of situation whereby you can look back and say, since the resumption of the Uganda Airlines, regardless of the saga or the chaos that has been rotating around the situation, well, this is a very big statement from the national carrier and, of course, the board of directors. And well, that's it for our morning call this morning, and our focus now will be turning on to the press review to check out what the Daily Monitor and the New Vision have in regards to business stories today that you can definitely check out and see how you can get into a perspective of the business world. Because remember, the most important item in the world is having information, which information is very vital, and information needs to be followed up. And of course, you never know how best you can get into the business world. Let's get into the press review though. All right, now with the press review this morning, we have the Daily Monitor and the New Vision. Daily Monitor says that we have a new term for local councils sparking legal crisis. This is also, there's a pictorial of that is Honorable Raphael Majezi, who's the local government minister in here. That is one of the big headlines when it comes to what the Daily Monitor is having this morning. And besides that, the reading culture, children embrace the reading issues of the Daily Monitor. And besides that, we look at the home things to consider when building in a rural area. We've seen quite a number of business people who come to Kampala to make money, and after making money, in the long run, they decide to actually make to actually sell off or to actually go and buy land. After buying land, what they definitely do is they want to ensure that at least they build a retirement home in their home areas. But what should you consider before you invest in your money into that particular one? Because we refer to that as an asset. If you come to think of it, it is more of an asset that is making more of the kind of situation that you would definitely look through into understanding. But well, besides that as well, labs up in arms over ring facing of DNA testing, still with the Daily Monitor. There's a very big issue, by the way, when it comes to DNA testing, and for those who are actually offering these services are making some good good money, because it is the trend now. Most of the parents are trying to take their children for DNA testing before they can easily get into, before they can easily try to at least put their money or spend their money in taking care of these children. Most of them want to first of all find out whether they are the real or they are of the same bloodline as the children they are raising. So it's something that from the business perspective, those who are offering the DNA testing services are earning some good money out of it. And away from that, still with the Daily Monitor, there is a social report regarding how 9 people perished in a park boat accident. And then back to the business side of it, KCC executives' contracts expire. The KCCA's current executive, or ED, that is Miss Dorothy Chisaka. That's actually been a big concern over the start of this week in regards to her contract expiring. We shall wait and see whether the president will renew it. And then also, furthermore, members of parliament have asked Uganda Revenue Authority to explain unauthorized spending. That's another big concern. Daily Monitor having more of the same. So it's as much as you can definitely get into kinds of discussions further, and something of the sort. Now, the detailed report about the KCC executive's contract ending amid a service setback. She has actually been in some people actually saying she really needs to deliver, and then the others are saying she's doing well. There's a lot when you're in service delivery or when you are in a top office. There are lots of concerns people do have, and they definitely want to see you get into the kind of situations as well. Now, labs are protesting the directive on NDA paternity tests. Most of the labs feel they really need to make this money out of the situation. However much some members of parliament wish that DNA tests should stop, because most people believe that these particular DNA tests, by the way, are leading to the destruction of families, obviously, because of the fact that if you have been raising a child for, let's say, 20 years, paying school fees, and of course school fees is one of the most expensive thing if you come to think of it, and then the other time round someone tells you that is not your child, you can only imagine the trauma and of course the kind of situation, how your mentality changes at the same time, and how your perspective of certain things really changes when you come to think of it. But besides that, we get to the new vision. 15,000 government workers lose salary in loans. If you look at this particular report, the Auditor General exposes unsolicited deductions. We do have public servants, because of the fact that the salary cap in Uganda is because the minimum amount of money in government offices is around 500 to 600,000 Ugandan shillings. Now, most of these particular people tend to go in for loans, or what you could call a salary loan. Now, during this time of getting a salary loan, because obviously banks would prefer giving you a loan if you're working for a government entity, because chances are high that your job is secure, and they will definitely be able to get more money in the long run with interest. So the Auditor General exposes unsolicited deductions, saying that 15,000 of these government workers on payroll obviously are losing salary in loans, because every salary now that comes in, they're actually servicing a loan in one way or the other. Either someone got a loan to pay school fees for their children, either someone got a loan to actually buy a car, either someone got a loan to actually build a house. So it's really huge. President Museveni meets Muslim leaders. There's a report in here with the new vision as well. You can easily see what is coming in now. There is also an admission list for the health institution for the students who are actually moving into higher education in regards to that kind of situation. And of course, now lastly, from the same kind of situation, as we'll definitely be heading on ground to see what is happening in regards to the traffic atmosphere this morning. Fake DNA test kits smuggled into Uganda. That's another big concern. So if you are a parent who's actually working on to get your DNA test, remember that there is also fake DNA test kits that are actually available. And of course, government is seeking 5 billion shillings to equip regional DNA labs. Oh, that's a big one as well from the new vision. Our eyes now turn to the traffic updates this morning to see what is happening on ground. As you can definitely see, that is the former clock tower currently in the center of the Kampala flyover. It's Wednesday, and when you come to think of it, by the way, for those who actually use Entebbe Road, people who are using Gaya's and Perere Kalere routes, you get to realize those are some of the most busiest roads in the morning. That is between 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. If you cannot wake up quite earlier, that traffic can be really, really hectic in the morning, most especially for the people who actually use Jinja Road. That's for the people coming in from Jinja, Kira, Mukono, name the areas, Boyogere, close to that same situation, Charlie Wajala, as long as you're using that road, that is Jinja Road, Nakawa, Banda. When you step into Banda, that's where the traffic jam starts heating up. But when you look at the kind of atmosphere that we have now, the vehicles that you're actually seeing on the screen are vehicles that are actually coming in from Zambia. That is in Zambia, Chibuli, those actually coming in from that sort of direction to head directly to town. And it's normally not a busy route, by the way, because most of the people who come from Chibuli, Namuongo, Zambia, either way, come to Jinja Road. So that is where the most hectic traffic jam hits you in the morning. But between 6 to 7, it is always a free movement when you come to think of it. And in most times you get to realize traffic jam is highly characterized with the deployment of traffic officers who at times tend to stop these vehicles for close to 30 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes. And my major concern has always been, why do they even have to stop vehicles for that long? Because even traffic lights only stop these vehicles for close to 10 for just 60 seconds. That is 1 minute. But anyways, at times you realize that again it goes back to how Ugandans control themselves while using the road, because we do not have discipline. One of the few areas that I know where Ugandans really, really fully respect these traffic lights and follow these traffic lights, for the people who actually use the Kira Road, the old Kira Road traffic lights around Bukoto, as you're heading to Bukoto, heading to Skies Naguru. That is for people who are actually heading to Ntinda. You get to realize that most of the people in there, the Bukoto residents, always maintain the flow of the traffic. So they know how to use the traffic routes, they know how to follow the traffic guidelines, they know how to follow these traffic lights. So it's as conducive as you get. So it goes back to the discipline, by the way. I think this is why we have heavy deployment of traffic officers every other morning, as well as when it comes to the evening time, in regards to the same kind of situation. So it is as wide as you can think of it. And but in our kind of observation, this particular time is normally a rush hour. As you can definitely see on the screens, we have quite a number of Ugandans who normally stroll to the capital. Reason is at times because they do not have money. Most of those are either staying in Katwe, some of them stay in the areas of Namasuba, Najana, Nkumbi, and it becomes really, really worse during the evening time. People walk back home because at times you've not made anything throughout the day. The least you've made is 5,000 Ugandan shillings, or you've actually made $1, and the only thing that you can use for that is to buy yourself supper and maybe keep 1,000 shillings to kickstart off your morning tomorrow. So you get to realize, with the kind of economy that we have in the country, whereby at times the only amount of money a Ugandan may make a day may be around 10,000 Ugandan shillings, depending on what job you're actually doing. But most of them are only surviving on a 10,000 Ugandan shilling note per day. So either way, the one who is actually making more may make a 20,000 or 50,000 a day. That means your business is actually moving in, and still the kind of cost that you have is you have to pay fuel, you have to service yourself in regards to transportation and everything. But in the kind of atmosphere that we have currently, clearly shows you that it's not so busy from that particular perspective, unlike other areas that are actually leading to the city. So with the kind of situation, if you are coming in to work, you'll get to realize, if you're still stuck at home, for now it doesn't seem to be busy. If you had woken up quite earlier, you would be in your office today, or your business would have already officially opened by 7. But if you're still home right now, the chances are high that you will be quite late for work, or you may actually reach at around 9 a.m. because Kampala traffic, especially on Entebbe Road, that traffic normally starts hitting from 7 to 9:30 in the morning. So it's as tight and busy as you can actually put it out there in the same kind of space in regards to the traffic as we get going in the kind of situation. And well, of course, the traffic update is normally to give you a clue and an understanding of how how the traffic flow is, how you can definitely get into context with understanding more of the situations in regards to the traffic atmosphere in the country. And well, that's it for the traffic updates this morning. As we're heading into the break, remember to kickstart off your investment with the Zabu platform. *292# is the USSD code that you definitely need to use to kickstart off your investment. And with Zabu says, my money, my future. Alltex East Africa, do something new. Well, what you need to definitely know about every little detail though is that with Zabu, the chances are very positive for you to invest in government bonds with just a minimum of 15,000 Ugandan shillings. Zabu, my money, my future. Alltex East Africa, do something new. When I do return after the break, I have the letters coming in from Karibu, East Africa.